My name is Ingrid, and exactly 21 days ago, a handwritten note from my late father shattered everything I thought. I knew about my existence. My father expired on a Tuesday evening. I was the only one there, gripping his hand as the life left him. My sister, Meredith, was vacationing in the Hamptons, claiming she couldn't get a flight. My mother was sitting in the hospital waiting area, insisting she was too distraught to witness the end dot at the reading of the will. Surrounded by distant cousins and strangers, the attorney declared my inheritance, a single dollar. Meredith was granted $2.4 million, the family estate, and every other asset. However, 3 days later, while clearing out my father's private office, I discovered a concealed compartment. Inside lay a letter dated the very day I was born. The opening sentence read, "A second daughter was never my desire." I forced myself to read on. By the final paragraph, the truth was undeniable. Before I go further, please take a second to hit like and subscribe, but only if this story resonates with you. Also, leave a comment telling me where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Now, let me transport you back to 4 weeks prior. The night my father was rushed to the emergency room, I was concluding a late shift when my phone vibrated. My mother's name appeared. She never dialed unless it was a crisis. "Your father is in the hospital. Heart failure. Come now." "Is he okay? I'm terrified," I stammered. "Just get here." I asked about Meredith. "Your sister is in the Hamptons with her group. She cannot return tonight." Naturally, she couldn't. "What about you, Mom?" "I will be there in the morning. It is late, and I have calls to make." I didn't fight it. Decades ago, I learned that challenging my mother was like shouting into an abyss. I grabbed my keys and drove. 4 hours through the blackness, the highway extending forever. My grip on the wheel was so tight, my hands ached. I kept repeating to myself, "This time will be different. Maybe now he will finally see me." When I reached the hospital, the overhead lights hummed like dying insects. A nurse pointed me toward the IQ. I walked past rooms full of weeping families. My father's room was silent, save for the rhythmic pulse of monitors. He looked diminished. The man who had dominated my youth, whose validation I had chased for 32 years, seemed frail beneath the sterile sheets. I pulled a chair close. "Hi, Dad, it's Ingrid." His eyelids fluttered but remained closed. I took his hand, a gesture I hadn't attempted since childhood. His skin was papery and cold. "I'm here," I whispered. "I made it." The machines continued their beep. Outside, the world moved on, but in that room, it was just me and the parent who had never once voiced affection for me. I waited 3 days. That is how long I sat by his side. Meredith called once. "How is he? Is he awake?" "Not yet. It's critical." "Okay. Keep me posted." "I have a charity lunch tomorrow, but I can reschedule if it's urgent." "It's fine, Meredith. I'm here." She didn't argue. Mom visited for brief windows, sitting in the corner on her phone, occasionally sighing. Not once did she offer to relieve me so I could sleep. During those endless nights, old memories surfaced. My university graduation. I had scanned the audience for my parents, only to see them arrive 20 minutes late. Meredith needed a new vehicle that morning, so the dealership took priority. My 16th birthday, Dad forgot completely. When I mentioned it at dinner, he tossed a $20 bill on the table. "Get yourself something nice." That was all. No cake, no celebration, just crumpled cash and the sound of Meredith giggling about her new computer. On the second night, a nurse checked his vitals. She looked at me, exhausted, wearing the same clothes, and said, "You are a devoted daughter to stay like this." I didn't answer. Was I devoted or just pathetic? On the third night, Dad stirred. His eyes opened, foggy with confusion, searching the room until they found me. Meredith, he whispered. I swallowed the lump in my throat. No, Dad, it's Ingrid. Hiss. Eyes closed. In his sleep, he muttered one name repeatedly. Meredith, only her. I squeezed his hand and pretended not to hear. The next morning, he woke up lucid. For the first time, he looked at me with intent. Ing. His voice was a rasp dot. I leaned in. The desk, he said. My study. There is something. He coughed, a wet, terrible sound. What is it, Dad? What is in the study? His grip tightened surprisingly. You must see the drawer, the hidden ... The monitors began to alarm. Nurses rushed in. Dad, stay with me. His eyes locked on mine. For a split second, I saw something new. Regret, guilt. I'm sorry, he breathed. I am so ... The machine flatlined. The room swarmed with staff. Someone pulled me away, but he was gone. At 3:47 a.m., my father died reaching for me, leaving a sentence unfinished. I stood frozen while they noted the time of death. When I finally called Mom, she wept, but her first sentence was, call your sister. Meredith needs to know. Asterisk not. Are you okay? Not, I should have been there. I called Meredith. She answered grudgingly. Meredith, he's gone. Silence. Then why didn't you call earlier? I have a meeting at 9. I hung up. Outside, the sun was rising on a world without him. I should have felt grief. Mostly I felt that familiar hollow space where his love should have been, and echoing in my mind, the desk, the hidden. The funeral was a performance. Harald Frell was a respected tycoon. Hundreds filled the chapel. Colleagues, golf partners, distant kin. Everyone had a story about his greatness. I sat in the second row, behind cousins I barely knew. Meredith stood at the front with Mom, receiving sympathy like royalty. They were matching designer black. I wore a dress from 5 years ago, when the eulogy time came. I stood up. I had prepared a speech. Mom's hand shot out. Let Meredith do it. You get nervous. I started to protest. Please, Ingrid, not today. I sat down. Meredith gave a beautiful speech. She cried on cue. She spoke of Dad's wisdom and his unconditional love. Unconditional. I stared at my lap. After the service, a woman approached. Me, older, sharp eyes, silver hair. You're Ingrid? I nodded. I am Helen, your father's sister. Sister? Dad said his only sibling died. I see Harold maintained the lie, she said bitterly. He cut me off 25 years ago for asking questions. She pressed a card into my palm. Call me later. There are things you need to know. She vanished into the crowd. I looked at the card. A number and 3 words. Don't trust them. 3 days later, we met at the law office. Mom sat at the head of the mahogany table. Meredith and her husband Greg were to her right. I sat near the exit. Mr. Patterson, the lawyer, began reading. To my wife, Vivian, I leave the summer cottage. And a monthly allowance. Mom dabbed her eyes. To my daughter, Meredith, I leave the family residence, the investment portfolio, the savings, the car collection, and all personal effects. Meredith squeezed Greg's hand, face neutral. To my daughter, Ingrid Frell, the room went silent. I leave the sum of $1. Someone chuckled. I felt every eye on me. Pity, amusement, satisfaction. Is that it? My voice was steady. That is the entirety, Patterson confirmed. I stood up. Thank you. I walked out. Near the elevator, I heard a whisper. Not surprising. She was never really one of them. The elevator doors shut. I finally exhaled. The desk. The hidden drawer. It was time to find out what Dad meant. I drove to my mother's house that afternoon. I told her I was collecting old items. Ingrid, I didn't expect you, Mom said, opening the door in her robe. I need my things. She stepped aside. The house felt empty. I stopped on the stairs. Why, Mom? She froze. Why what? 32 years? Why? What did I do? This isn't the time. When is the time? He's dead. You're here. Tell me. She sighed, looking ancient. Your father had reasons. Move on. What reasons? I was the one at the hospital. Meredith didn't even cancel lunch. Your sister has responsibilities. There are things you don't understand. Explain them. She turned away. Get your things and go. Some questions have ugly answers. She went to the kitchen. My instincts screamed to follow, but I knew that wall. Instead, I looked down the hall. Dad's study. Mom was occupied. I had 10 minutes. I slipped into the study and shut the door. The room smelled of cigars and leather, his sanctuary. The massive oak desk sat in the center. I started with the normal drawers. Bills, photos of Meredith's awards, her wedding. Nothing of me. Then I saw it. The bottom drawer was shallow. I pulled it out and felt the base. The wood was raised. I pressed a corner. Click. A false bottom. I lifted it. Inside, a yellow envelope, a leather journal, and a sealed manila packet. The yellow envelope had my birthday on it. I opened it. The paper was brittle. I never wanted a second daughter. The words punched me. I kept reading. One heir is enough. When Vivian announced her pregnancy, I wanted to terminate it. She refused. So I decided, if this child exists, she takes nothing from Meredith. Every opportunity belongs to my firstborn. The second is an accident I will tolerate, nothing more. I grabbed everything and fled. Back at my apartment, I read until 3 a.m. The letter was just the start. The journal chronicled 30 years of sabotage. When she was 5, she asked for ballet. I told Vivian to say we were broke. She believed it. Good. When she was 10, she wanted piano. I told her she lacked talent. She cried. She will get over it. At 18, she wanted to study medicine. I told her I would only pay for accounting to keep her close and controlled. She agreed. She always agrees. Every failure in my life, every dream I abandoned, he had orchestrated. And Mom was his enforcer. Vivian knows the deal. If she shows the second one affection, there will be consequences. I wanted to scream, but there was still the manila envelope. I broke the wax seal. Last will and testament of Robert Frall, Sr. My grandfather's will, the one Dad said was lost. I read it. Grandfather hadn't left everything to Dad. He left it to be divided equally among all grandchildren, including me. My father had stolen my inheritance before I knew it existed. And I had proof. I called Helen at 7 a.m. I found it, I said. The will, the journal. She exhaled. I knew he kept records. Harold was meticulous about his cruelty. We met at a diner. Helen looked unsurprised as I displayed the papers. Your grandfather was fair, she said, touching the document. He loved you all. But Dad told everyone the will left everything to him because he destroyed the original. He lied about everything, I whispered. He told the family I was unstable to discredit me. 25 years of silence. What do we do? I asked. She pulled out her phone. I know Marcus Webb. He was your grandfather's lawyer. Harold told people Marcus was dead. He isn't. Marcus Webb's office was small. He was a thin man with kind eyes. You look like Robert, he told me. We sat down. Marcus studied the original will. His eyes watered. This is it. I wrote this. I remember every clause. What happened? I asked. After Robert died, Harold called me. Said he found a newer will. When I asked to see it, he threatened to destroy my career. I had no proof. He was the son. I backed down. Now we have proof, Helen said. Yes, Marcus nodded. And the journal creates a narrative of intent. We can challenge the probate. But Ingrid, he warned, you are going against your mother and sister, the whole family. I thought of 32. Years of scraps, I am ready. Meredith called 3 days later. Ingrid, sweetheart. Her voice was syrupy. I am hearing rumors. Are you? People say you are asking questions about the estate. You need to stop. It is embarrassing. Is it? Dad made his wishes clear. Did he? The sweetness evaporated. I don't know what you think you found, but I have lawyers who can ruin you. Drop it. Is that a threat? It is advice. It is advice. Who'll believe you over Mom and me? Thanks for the concern, Meredith. I hung up. She was scared. 10 minutes later, Mom texted. Ingrid, I need to see you. There's something to tell you about the letter. We met at a cafe. Mom looked small, no makeup. You came, she said. You asked. She started shaking. I know about the letter. I always knew. Then why? Because I was a coward. Tears fell. When I married him, I had nothing. He threatened to divorce me, leave me destitute, tell everyone I was insane if I showed you love. I was a hostage. Did you ever love me? Every day, she whispered. I was just too afraid to show it. I felt exhausted sadness. Did you know about Grandpa's will? She shook her head. He never told me about money. My phone buzzed. My friend, Daniel, check Facebook. Meredith had posted a long message painting me as unstable and greedy, trying to steal from grieving relatives. The war had begun. Okay, pausing here. If you have ever felt like the invisible child, drop a comment. How did you handle it? Also hit subscribe if you are rooting for justice. Back to the story. Text poured in from relatives. How could you respect the dead? Meredith played the victim perfectly. Comments supported her. Stay strong, Meredith. Jealous siblings are the worst. The next day, a cease and desist letter arrived from Meredith's lawyers. They demanded I stop making claims. It was an intimidation tactic. I called Marcus. We need to move faster. We hired Dr. Huang, a forensic document expert. She analyzed the wills. The original signature is genuine, she concluded. The one Harold, filed as a forgery, traced but clumsy. I will testify to this. We have enough, Marcus said. Helen pointed to the journal. He mentions Vivian knew. Does Meredith know? I had one way to find out. Marcus, call a family meeting. The night before, I read the journal one last time. I threw away her art scholarship. I scared off her boyfriend. She's on her own. Asterisk, I cried, and I felt resolve. No more silence. The meeting was at Mom's house. Meredith, Greg, and a dozen relatives were there. An audience for my humiliation. Well, Meredith sneered. Why are we here? To tell the truth, I said. We know the truth, Aunt Edna snapped. You are greedy. No. I am reclaiming what was stolen. I pulled out the yellow envelope. Dad wrote this the day I was born. I read the hateful words aloud. The room went quiet, then the journal. 30 years of plotting. Anyone could write that, Meredith said, standing up. A forensic expert verified it, but here is the real proof. I revealed the grandfather's will. Grandpa left his money to all of us. Dad forged a new one and stole from everyone in this room. Uncle Robert leaned in. What? Dad confessed in the journal. Meredith went pale. Liar? Am I? I pulled out an email printout. This is from Dad to you, Meredith, 5 years ago. He explains the fraud and asks you to keep the secret. Greg stood up. What? Your wife knew for 5 years. The room erupted. Greg stared at Meredith. You knew? I didn't. Dad made me promise, Meredith stammered. So you let your sister be treated like garbage? Greg shouted. Aunt Edna cornered. Mom, Vivian, is this true? Mom just sobbed. I gathered my papers. I am not here for revenge. I am here for the truth. You can't do this, Meredith screamed. This is my family. No, I said. It is ours, and I'm finally taking my place. I walked out. Helen was waiting. You did good, she said. Mom ran out after me. Ingrid, can you ever forgive me? I looked at the woman who had sacrificed me. I don't know. Maybe someday. But right now, I know I don't need your approval. I was always worthy of love. You just couldn't give it. I drove away. 2 weeks later, Marcus filed the suit. The press picked it up. Prominent family and fraud scandal. Meredith's lawyers fought, but our evidence was ironclad. During depositions, Meredith denied everything until we showed the email. She broke down. I was protecting the family. Greg contacted me. We need to talk. He met me at a coffee shop. He looked wrecked. I filed for divorce, he said. Here. He slid a flash drive over. Evidence. She didn't just know. She helped hide the assets. I can't stay with someone who does that. I held the drive. One more nail in the coffin. Meredith called me begging. I'll give you money. Just stop. It isn't about money. Then what? Admit it. You knew. I knew, she whispered. I was scared I would become you, the invisible one. When you are ready to take responsibility, find me. The trial was quick. Greg testified against her. The judge ruled the filed will was a fraud and reinstated the original. The estate would be split fairly. Relief washed over me. Outside, Mom was waiting. I am not asking for forgiveness, she said. I am asking if we can start over. I want to try. I can't promise anything, I said, but I am willing to try. 3 months later, Meredith texted. She was in a small apartment now. We met. She was humbled. I am in therapy, she said. Being the golden child damages you too. I am sorry, Ingrid. I can't forgive you yet, I said. But I won't hate you. 6 months later, I have my share. I bought a condo. I am in therapy, unpacking the trauma. I have a relationship with Mom. It's work, but it's real. Helen is my rock. I realized my father was a narcissist who saw life as a zero-sum game. My mother was a victim of coercive control. Meredith was programmed to be selfish. And I was the scapegoat, but love isn't a wage you earn. It is a gift. If someone doesn't give it, that is their flaw, not yours. I chose to break the cycle. You are not responsible for the dysfunction you were born into, but you are responsible for healing from it. So stand up, even if your voice shakes. Your worth was never theirs to decide. Thank you for watching. If this story helped you, please like the video to help it spread. Subscribe to Winds of Thought for more stories of truth. Leave a comment if you're fighting your own battle. Take care. And remember, you are always worthy.